I'm Miss Andrea.
And I'm Ms. May.
And this is Cheese Press Publishing.
Indeed.
Today we are going to answer some, I wouldn't say common, but some recent questions that new homeschoolers are asking. And as old homeschoolers,
seasoned homeschoolers,
we think we might be good people to answer these questions.
and maybe provide some insight into them. So we just gonna dive straight into them. Excellent. All right. The first one. I sent in the intent to homeschool form saying that we would start homeschooling on September 1st. Actually, I'm starting today. Is that okay? Do I need to send in an update? Okay.
Don't judge. We just answered.
This one, from a straight up answer standpoint, is pretty straightforward. What your intent to homeschool forms mean, all of the various state regulations, whatever your state is governed by, they just want to make sure that you're doing kind of at least a bare minimum of education and that you're committed to filing the proper paperwork that shows that effort. If you do more than what they expect, that's never going to be an issue.
In other words, do what you want. However, if you're that kind of person that the paperwork makes you anxious and you want to be very honest, like me, I'm very honest and transparent.
You're compulsively honest, yes.
We don't judge. What I would do henceforth is every year when you fill out the form, do the form from August 1st to July 31st.
Yeah, but if you're looking about
and then
somebody
you can homeschool whenever you want. Nobody cares.
But for somebody who's going to be compulsively honest, I understand that then they're going to feel compelled to begin on August 1st. And to continue through July 31st, because that's what they put on the form. Because that's what we're dealing with
all
here.
I'm saying is, this is my school year. It's not asking about when your breaks start and stop. So
That
people
is
who
true.
have wiggly and wobbly schedules or unsure of schedules, just go ahead and make it a full year.
My recommendation would be different. That
Some
if
years I
we're-
get a full year.
If we're hyper focusing on the dates and we have to be certain that and understand this is strictly somebody's personal proclivity.
Do you know if this was a national question or a Georgia question?
I didn't find this question. You had this one already.
It was a Georgia question.
It's probably a Georgia question.
Which one?
Georgia's real low on the bureaucracy side of it. So nobody's gonna come to your door and ask if you started homeschooling on the day that you're.
But they used to.
They did.
Guys, went back in the old days.
But that's also because somebody called and reported you.
Yeah, back in the old days when I was homeschooling, you had to not just do your intent to homeschool form, but you had to send in a monthly attendance sheet.
Yep.
Which was stupid because you're homeschooling, and that means you're home. Where else are your children? They're home. They're here, present. Did we wake up? We are present.
No, at some point kids become mobile, or they have friends that become mobile.
If my kids were mobile, they were in a homeschool class, so also present. It was stupid. And so what I started doing was just fill out the year of attendance based on what I knew we were going to homeschool and schedule them to go out because I hadn't sent them in on time. And then my neighbor called the truancy officer because she didn't like that my children were free. And he came and he's like, oh, your intent to homeschool is in. I don't see that your attendance sheets were done. And I was like, because they're stupid. He was like, just do them. Your neighbor's watching you. And then they point to it.
Well, yeah, so those regulations are not in place in Georgia now.
Yeah.
Now it's just your intent to homeschool. And realistically, what they're checking to make sure is that you're willing to file that intent to homeschool.
Mm-hmm.
They're not double checking dates. But if we're dealing personality who has to have everything exactly right, what you can do is, because that intent to homeschool date to have that turned in is pretty generous on the start of the school year.
Yeah, wasn't it like 6 when you touched school year?
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
just begin on your first day of homeschooling and just take the time to fill it out that day. And then you make sure that it goes long enough that you're covering your required instructional days.
Which is 180.
That's how you.
And just about it in every state.
I think it's around 180 for just about everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the way we're going to ensure that your date accurately reflects what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, if you're homeschooling, your 180 days of instruction could go over a weekend.
excuse me if I'm fidgety, but there are gnats in this room. This is not my home.
So it could go over a weekend. You might take a week off that other students don't. It could be that you're homeschooling 4 days a week because nobody wants to work on Wednesday. That's something you're free to do as a homeschooler.
As long as you hit 180 days, you're complying with homeschool law just about every single state.
Some require more documentation about them.
It's just so interpretable, but no, don't worry about it. Do what you want. It's fine. This is just paperwork.
It's formality is what it is. The paperwork is formality. And, you be prepared to show that you've in fact been educating your kids, but beyond that, the dates aren't that important. I think is the end of that answer.
Okay, tips for teaching a child who has ADHD. As a person with ADHD, it's not something I thought about that hard. I just taught it's the weather, but I do have to.
Which is good, because I don't know that I successfully navigated the ADHD part, which is probably part of the gap year for my 19-year-old.
Watch them and start to zone out, stop talking, because they can't hear you anymore.
Well, you had some good ideas, because I do still have this, and we're working on math. And so let's talk through what we've just started with my 16-year-old math. Because of the ADHD, you need that, and completing math problems does not provide that.
No.
So the other day, you told me to do something very specific.
I don't remember what I told you to do.
The top of the hour, sit him down, make him complete 2 or 3 math problems.
Yes.
And then let him do whatever it is that he needs, whether it's working on another subject, whether it's taking some break, whether it's getting lunch, whatever it is, take the rest of that time to do something else. At the top of the next hour, sit down and do 2 or 3 math problems. We're getting into it.
So for my kids, it was a little bit more specific. It was play piano, because those things go so nicely in your brain.
Together so nicely.
But the activity is the better, even if you're doing like 15 minutes of math, minutes of language arts, 15 minutes of something else.
Right.
It just
keeping it structured.
You can't. There's been, after a certain amount of time, children are going to zone out. Like, you can't cram for a test for 3 hours. You're only going to remember what you.
It's like 90 minutes, right?
No.
60?
20.
Oh, 20.
No, small bursts. So that's the first thing. If they're in a classroom situation as a lecture, and this is something that we've done in teaching, we don't just drone on for however long the class is. You teach a section, you stop, you talk.
Right.
And things like that. So you just have to keep.
Or do a writing reflection.
Yeah, you can't just post them information. You have to stop, give them a chance to process, give them a chance to talk, give them a chance to be annoying, and then get back to it. Other tips are have to babysit ADHD kids a little bit.
Yeah.
And so if they have to read an assignment on their own, you also need to read that assignment, because now you need to discuss it over dinner.
Yeah.
You have to over dinner, because you have
or
to
it's
touch them in that quiet moment.
Yeah.
And you be homeschooling or working in an open area, like maybe the dining room or the great room or whatever, so you're going to walk by. And so, because they're going to get off task, but they're going to stay off task a lot less time if they know that you're going to be walking through any minute now. And watch them for changing windows when they see and hear you coming.
Or just warm thigh them.
Well, warm thigh, just what we're doing.
Right?
We're doing this together.
So understand, when we're talking about, some of this is coming from the idea that a child would be working independently. Our main focus is middle and high school. So in elementary school, you need to some extent, later school, you need to start directing a child and giving them the tools to work on their own.
In 4th grade, you need to start giving short assignments.
And you need to make sure that they are capable of completing things on their own, because you're not just with that skill. You have to figure that out.
So before that age, understand that my generation, everyone since grew up watching Sesame Street. Things were taught in 1-minute bursts.
Yeah.
All of you to some degree, because it was programmed into us. And so teach as short as you can, and then let them teach it back to you.
Right. Because you need to, first, step 1, small digestible amounts. Step 2, process what's just been learned. whether that's writing, reflection, whether that's conversation, whatever it is, and understand that with ADHD, there might need to be more hands-on parental involvement than maybe you think should be happening at a particular
And you might
developmental
teach
point.
a function 3 times before it sticks. So be patient. Besides that, highlighters, to take notes and teach them to rewrite their notes.
Right. By hand, not just
By
typing.
hand.
There is a brain-hand connection that helps cement things when you actually are physically writing it down with a pen and a paper.
And start teaching them to manage their time as young as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are teaching a child who has ADHD.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, how many hours do you homeschool with a kindergartner?
Okay, so the law states you should homeschool your child for 4.5 hours, 180 days a year. It does not take that long to teach a kindergartner the kindergarten things. But homeschooling is some more than teaching academics.
It is.
Right? So you're teaching time telling. You're playing with colors. You're coloring. You're doing, what is it called? When you use your fingers. I mean, you're cutting out what they call that.
Fine motor skills?
Yeah, fine motor skills. My daughter didn't get fine motor skills because she cut up with a scarab and I wouldn't give her scissors for 2 years. And then when she got to school, they're like, she has no fine motor skills, give her a scissor. And I'm like, take her home and give her a scissor. That happened. But, so, yeah. Going to the counts, playing in the park, time counts, play dates count.
Going grocery shopping counts.
In kindergarten, it really does, because you're teaching them to be still, don't ask for everything, and now help me count this stuff up.
Right.
You know, oh, look at the map price. Which one do you think we should get? You know, and things. And so, I wouldn't say you have to teach a kindergartner 4.5 hours a day, but I think in a week, 24 hours of logged enrichment activities, including the bedtime story, including that hour before bed. So that's 5 hours right there, right? Sesame Street, little cocoa on that count. Don't get crazy with that. But animal planet counts. Like, some little Rita Rabbit counts.
And so I think that's actually kind of the bigger question. Looking for how many hours do you homeschool with a kindergartner? That sounds like a parent that's gonna be creating, like, we need to interact this set curriculum. We've got these workbooks.
Well,
how much
then break it up.
seat time are we doing with a kindergartner?
Seat time for a kindergartner?
That's not a thing.
Well, no. I'm trying to pull it out of my head. So you're not arranging your life around homeschooling a kindergartner.
Right.
You're fitting homeschooling a kindergartner into your life in 15-minute increments.
In kindergarten, even like first and second grade, homeschooling is experiential.
So I believe in kindergartner, if we're talking about seat time, was about an hour and a half, right? So it's six little 15-minute sessions in a day. And then every year I add an hour.
Right.
That's how I reason it. Because we're building a muscle, we're building the attention span.
Sure.
We're getting them out of the ADHD modes. We're training them out.
Largely, it's about the experiences.
Absolutely.
And that
So
age.
go have them.
Yeah.
Because my kids we started homeschooling a little earlier than that, but we spent 6 to 7 hours every Friday in a museum or an exhibit.
Right.
So like, that's a huge time every week.
Yeah.
So think of it that way. So do the cumulative week. Worry about the 4.5 hours a day, and also think about every experience, scouts, park, interaction, because a kindergarten's about interacting with kids, right? Cutting, coloring, a little Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, a little
Any kind
Rita
of
Rabbit, a little
any kind of
worksheets,
tactile
a little puzzles.
play.
Yeah.
Right.
All of it. It just so happens that we wrote a kindergarten homeschool portfolio where you can find all the milestones that your child should meet during the kindergarten year and record them in this handy dandy book. Enjoy. Till next time.